my why was from some personal reasons with my dad had been diagnosed with leukemia long ago. And so I was like, okay, how can I be involved and support that? And it was a really healing outlet also. So there was different outlets that I got to be involved in. Yeah. And then, life circumstances have then happened with my own health that I was really grateful to have spent the time in that space. So, nothing happens, in my opinion, nothing happens by coincidence. We do have the choice to understand what we're supposed to learn from it. And that helps us puzzle pieces together and welcome in the lessons. But yeah.
We didn't talk about your experience with cancer, your touch with cancer also.
Yeah.
If you can put it in perspective for me, when you got diagnosed versus you've had so much change.
I have.
For when you got diagnosed through how long were you already working with Limitless at this point?
I was, yeah.
Okay. So talk me through.
And this is what I mean by I don't think anything happens by coincidence, right? I had the courage to listen to my pull that I was meant for more time and time again. And I gave myself the space to honor that feeling and to chase that. That then opened up the ability for me to really dive into the importance of habits, discipline, consistency. So I had spent years sharpening those tools and being consistent and healthy and honoring what I needed to for myself. I was at the time doing it out of reverence for the roles that I have the honor of holding. But what I didn't realize was life was coming at me with a breast cancer diagnosis. And had I not been prepared in that moment, and this is why preparation is a non-negotiable for me. It solidified in that moment. When you have life-altering moments, like I just mentioned, and for most people, it's hopefully not going to be medical. But for some people, it could be a family dynamic. It could be a money issue. It could be a work change. It could be anything. So all of us will, without fail, have a gut punch moment, right? That is the non-negotiable that's going to happen in life. Life's going to come at you with change and show-stopping moments. But what you do have the control on is your preparation. How are you going to prepare to handle whatever comes at you? And I am really grateful that I had spent the 2 years prior really doubling down in habits and what I was inputting and outputting in my body, energy-wise, nutritionally, physically, all areas of health. I had been working on my spiritual health. I had been doing all of these things that when my body then told me, hey, something is actually wrong now. Okay, maybe this is a switch from you're meant for something more, but something is actually not feeling right, to understanding what that looked like, having multiple providers say, you're fine, come back in 6 months, we'll check again. And had I not used my voice in times past, in small moments that gave me the courage to use it in big moments, I wouldn't have had the courage to say, I want more tests. I'm relying on that provider to say the right answer to me and honor my body. Now, one valuable lesson that I do want to say is I'm not blaming this on the providers at all, right? Medicine is a practice. That's why they call it people are practicing medicine.
Yeah.
What I do think is important is nobody knows your body like you do. But what I challenge you with is, are you giving your body the chance to speak to you? Are you honoring your body enough by doing things that serve your body rather than tear your body down? If I was drinking a ton at the time, I could have been wildly inflamed. Or if I was eating a bunch of garbage, then I could have been maybe this is some diabetes. There could have been so many different variables. But because I was honoring myself and being disciplined I was health conscious, and not just I'm talking about all the 5 pillars of health.
Which remind me of the 5 pillars.
So we've got emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, and financial.
Okay.
And I was looking at all of those. I was being really intentional about all of those. So then when that moment came and I was told I was fine, and then I pushed back, and then grateful that I did push back because we got more tests done, and then it was confirmed that I did have breast cancer. Imagine if in that moment I was like, oh my gosh, we're in so much debt because we have spending problems.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I don't have organization in the businesses that I'm running, because at that point, I wasn't just a CEO at Limitless. I had started and acquired other businesses that were functioning on the side as well. So it wasn't just one outlet that I needed to be looking at.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many moving parts, but I got to just carry on because I had prepared and I had put the pieces into place, and I was really disciplined in what that looked like. And I'm so grateful because it gave myself and my family the space to just say, okay, how are we going to handle this? And my body got a chance to recover in a strong manner because it was the strongest it had ever been to go into a crazy invasive surgery. I had been able to really lean on God in those moments because I had worked really hard on my spiritual health, and I knew what God felt like to me at that point, and no longer guessing or feeling like a disconnect at all. So when we go through every one of those, it was like, okay, let's go. How are we going to handle this? And we got to go in with a clear, calm, united front as a family. Now, don't get me wrong. It was so scary still, right? But we can be nervous and brave at the same time.
I like that.
So it was
Did you, like, in this moment, like, do you ever, was there like one of those moments where you're like, okay, I'm scared, but I can be nervous and brave at the same time?
Absolutely.
Like
in those moments, I mean, Jeff, it took a solid year for me to keep pushing back and saying, no, I want more testing.
Wow.
For them to say, no, you're fine, come back. And I said, no, I want more. And so, I mean, by the time it was like I had expressed my concerns to my initial provider, to getting referrals pushed through and then tests pushed through. I mean, you know, our lovely healthcare system, right? It takes a long time. And so I had one full year to also sit in those dark spaces. And I will tell you, there were moments that I remember one really vivid evening that I was sitting in our sauna and I was crying and I was like, I don't know how severe this is. I don't know if my wife and my son are going to have me at the end of this. That could be a variable here. But that allowed me to go into that space and entertain that space in the way that gave me preparation to have some hard conversations with my wife of, this could be a variable. If it is, how do we want to handle this? What will life look like? And some people are like, that is a really morbid conversation to have, but it's reality. And it let us understand what each other's wishes would have been. It let us center and just like show up for each other and understand what fears are sitting here. This is scary. This isn't all just like, let's be strong and motivated and disciplined in our habits. There were moments in there that we did have to sit in that, but it allowed us to be prepared. So when the variable did come out and say, yep, this is what's in front of us, these are the unknowns, this is what we're going to be doing, we got to say, okay, we're ready. That's a very extreme scenario. I'm really aware of that. I'm also really, really grateful to be able to say it's an extreme scenario that we got to be prepared in, but I won't discredit the discipline that it took to get there. I also am really, really a firm believer that anybody can get to that level of discipline. It's a conscious act. It's action oriented. But if you want it, if that reward on the other side is big enough for you, then what you're having to sacrifice in some of these smaller moments on the day-to-day seem a bit smaller.
I just want to say thanks for trusting me with that story.
Yeah,
that's
asking.
Yeah, that's impactful. Okay, if you could go back and give one piece of advice to 15-year-old Tiffanie, what would that advice be?
To use your voice. Start strengthening your self-trust now, because where you are is exactly where you need to be, and your voice matters.
I just love this idea of like, there's growth opportunities to happen and there's something better coming for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe not better. There do things on the horizon, but also don't discount where you are.
Yeah.
You're right where you need to be.
Yeah.
Love that. That's good. Thank you. Perfect. Love that. You know what I also love about that, looking back, is that it shows like I like this, that it shows that you're really comfortable with where you were. There's not like a lot of regret. And I think our lives, my personal theory is that a lot of our lives are trying to avoid regret. Ultimately, we want to take our last breath some way day, whenever that is, and not like, I wish I would have freaking done this. You know?
Yeah.
And so looking back, there's no regret in what you were coaching your younger self with. I think that's a huge marker of a life well lived. So
thank you.